Hello, storytellers. It's Storytelling Ron, and I'm here to talk about combat in For the Lord RPG. And For the Lord RPG is going to be the name of all the games. And there's a Dark Ages one, there's an apocalyptic one, and a Christian sci-fi, and they all same game, same rules. And yeah, so I'm going to go through combat today. I'm going to talk about combat. I do medieval armored combat. And let me just talk about that real quick. I do medieval armored combat, and there's things in there that you have to experience to just know and get. The one is like sort of freezing up and not knowing what to do, and you have to just get into it over and over and over. And you know, the experiences that I have in it has just been wonderful, great, silly, exhausting. I'm getting old now, so I don't want to compete or anything like some of the younger guys, but and I don't, I just don't, you don't have to prove anything anymore. And I've got injuries. I've got things that are hurt. Like I got this tricep that did it in the fight and pulled it, and I still have, every time I do a deadlifts, I can still feel it. So it's kind of fascinating as you get older and you get these different wounds from the fighting, or scars or whatever. So whatever, I do it. It's fun. It's great. There's my armor. There's my Gothic helm, and the other two I've fought in, and there's some swords I've used. So, do I know more than other GMs or whatever about game mechanics and doing it? I don't know. But it's there. It's there, and I'm trying to put it in here. But also, I'm very focused on keeping the, story-wise, keeping it flowing and quick and messy and just go, and let's see what happens. And since I've been doing For the Lord RPG, I have really been enjoying the combat in this. There's a couple of times when it went a little long, but I've had those experiences in the list. And the list is the fenced area where we fought. I've had those experiences in the list too. And I can tell too when it's gone a little long is usually the players don't do the right thing that I know they should be doing, or they're doing kind of silly stuff or whatever. Well, whatever. Anyway, so what I'm saying is this is really fun. The combat does go quickly. Things happen, I feel like, in the right way. They feel right to me now, the way this goes. I don't like the way Dungeons and Dragons does it, and games where, you have all these actions and reactions and, what's so fast? I can't remember now. I'm losing terminology from D&D since the fast, and I'm just getting older. And the quick action, secondary action, whatever, a supportive action, all these things, like we're playing Tomb of Annihilation, we're finishing that up, and all the characters are like 10th level, and they're doing a succession of actions every turn, and it's like by the time they're done, I'm like, oh, whose turn is it now? So let me go down. Okay, so settings. Here's the character classes, basic stuff here, and just kind of ideas for the game, traits. Here's the character sheets and how to do it. And here's the gear that they pick out. There's the weapons and weapon types and armor, and then here's the combat rules. And that's it. That was it. Let's go back up to 2 pages of combat rules. Oh, I should probably make my face. I'm actually going to show everything on one page at a time. But one thing I do want to show, let me go ahead and get my little pan thing going here. Is that, so you do have a weapon list, and the damages are very similar to D&D. But there's I call it styles, and so there's different little things that each weapon can do. Like, so there's a little favoritism based on the different weapons. Like, for instance, to me, I think, why are swords sort of the most popular weapon in medieval times, or, throughout hand-to-hand combat? Why are blades more popular than axes or whatever? I mean, there's plenty of axes, but, and maces, but why did we, the sword is expensive to make. It's not useful for anything else, whereas, the axe is useful for many things. But why is the sword, and it doesn't have like a huge, chopping power, right, against armor. So why is it still popular? I think the main reason is that you can use it to parry much better than an axe, right? An axe is a little heavier, and you can't really parry as quickly with an axe. A sword, I think, is just more in combat. It has just more multiple uses like that. Anyway, so for like sword, I give it a parry +2. So that's kind of where I've swung a sword around and I can tell it's quicker to react against an axe or any other weapon in that regard. And it does, and when you swing it, it doesn't do as much damage, I feel, as an axe. Like when I swing an axe, I can feel, the trauma but with a sword, it's just more light. You can still do it. You can still get that, but it's a little harder, a little trickier. There's a little bit more of emotion involved. But with a sword, you can do this. An axe, it's just that much slower to get that axe moving. And then the axe, like I can tell, you can a lot of times when we're fighting with an axe, it's that thing. You can grab a shield or you can grab their weapon and pull. So I give the axe a pull thing that's in there. Now, I do want to say one thing about all these little things that I've added in there, these little styles. I'm not, especially for the beginning players, I don't really throw all that on them. I just let them do sword D6, axe D8, whatever. I kind of do that, and then I introduce them later on with them, especially if they're new players. So I don't try to throw all that on them in the beginning. That's all stuff that when they inquire as like a warrior, then I start, oh yeah, by the way, the sword you can parry with, after they've been had a few combats or whatever. So these are in here, but I don't throw them on there, and I'll forget plenty of times. So as a GM, my advice to you is they're there, but you don't have to follow them or remember them or use them all the time. And you kind of, at some point when the players are playing enough, let them be responsible for remembering to use those little styles, especially the pull. If you successfully hit somebody, and they're simple too, like pull, if you successfully hit an opponent and they have a shield, you can then say, I hit them, so they can't use their shield for the next turn. Like someone else can get a free or an easier shot in on them because you've pulled down their shield after you've hit them successfully. So there's that. And I just kept it with successfully hit because that's just easy to remember than, because a lot of times when you swing and miss, that's when you pull their shield. And I don't want to deal with that in a game. I want the game flow to go quickly. So if they get a successful hit, they can also pull the shield, and then someone else can come in and get, a little easier attack. So I want to keep it, as much as I want to add in these flares and details of weapons, I also want to keep it flowing quickly because it's hard to remember things, especially in combat, like all these different little things all the time. Or maybe I'm just getting older and I can't remember. But again, and if I have an enemy with an axe, I don't really use the pull because I just forget. And at some point I'll remember, but I just generally tend to forget, and that's okay. Don't worry, just move on. No big deal. Not every warrior or combatant is gonna know all the different things they can do with their weapons. That's for sure. That's actually the default. Especially in minions. Minions will just attack and nothing special going on anyway. So as a GM, be open to just forgetting all the little extra details that you need to do the thing. Let me see if she needs to come in. No, she walked off. Okay, so nope, let me go. Hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, got distracted there. Okay, so the styles, and like I said, you don't have to use them all the time, and that's the minions won't remember to use them all. So. And think of them too, like that's like a special talent or ability that someone finally starts utilizing the extra, bit of that the weapon can do, takes advantage of that type of weapon and what it can do. So that's what all these little extra things are for the weapon here, like crushing. I'm pretty sure they're going to remember that, or you'll remember that one. But that's a 1920 crit for a battle axe type of thing. So, and then armor, again, armor has everyone's defense is 12 plus their awareness. And then if they got a shield or helm or the basic helm +1 or great helm +2. And like I said in the other video, the great helm to me, wearing that is just like a shield. It feels like a shield because I get hit in the head so many times when they're swinging at me that I'm just, hitting my helmet. I don't care. So it's pretty essential in far as like a shield. It feels like a shield to me, what am I saying? So armor save. So the shield, the great helm, and the helm will give to the defense, but the rest of the armor absorbs damage once you are hit. So, to me, hitting someone is just based on the shape of them, right? And defense is their movement away from you with that, and then also some other separate object that will block it, like a shield. And to me, the helm works the same way. It could, you could say that the helm is more absorbed, but I don't know. There's something about the helm that feels to me like a shield. So I put it on defense. Anyway, it's just from my personal experience. But when I get hit in the body, it feels a little different. It feels like I can feel a little shock. It's in the head too, but in the body is when I really feel the armor give a little. The helm is more like a bell ring, and I've only had one time I got my bell rung. One time, it was pretty spectacular. But other than that, it's just hit. And but in the armor, I can feel it a little more. You can feel a little more, although full plate's pretty amazing. But most armor gives a little, and there's places where the weapon just gonna penetrate and get into the flesh. So anyway, once you get hit, then you can reduce the damage of the hit, and D8, D6, D10 there. So that's I love that part of it as well. Oh, you can sacrifice your shield, your great helm if you ever get a crit roll, and you can opt to take let your shield get destroyed, and you don't take the critical. You take the damage, but not the wounding part of it. So there is a wounding part to a nat 20. You can do vitality or hit point damage, double damage, and then you also do a wound. So a wound is based on some GM discretion here. And by the way, GM discretion in my game, GM discretion everywhere. And I want to say this. I know I'm going everywhere, but what I really enjoy now is that I can use discretion on anything. And if you ever, as a new GM, if you're ever just not sure, if they do a fall and they're next to a cliff, should you make them fall over? Oh, because they rolled a nat 1. If you're unsure if you want to throw something so heinous on them or scary or whatever, and you think it really should matter, but you can tell it's going to affect them, all the players, don't just make them fall even though they rolled a nat 1. Instead, just give them a save, give them a resistance roll. That way, there's a little relief there. There's a little excitement. So if you're unsure of implementing something on them story-wise, even though you want to, or it's there, or it should really happen that way, don't do that. Give them, give them a little resistance roll. So I would give them, and make it low, like a medium, like 10, not 14. Have them, they got to roll a 10. They got to beat it. He rolled a nat 1. He's next to a cliff. I think he should fall over. I'm not going to make him fall over unless he, okay, you may fall over. Make a resistance roll. Use your aggression. Do you got anything else you can add to that roll? And then that's what I did. I used aggression. And then the guy said, well, can I use my awareness? Because I'm more aware and more, awareness has to do with agility and balance. And I'm like, oh yeah, use your awareness, because that's his higher number anyway. And then, so we did, and he failed. He rolled a nat 1. I don't want to, it's a sci-fi one. He was on a platform, but anyway, and I'm play testing that one right now. Whew, I had a really great time. I can't wait to upload those. But he fell off this platform floating across the thing. And that was death. Not instant, but that was, but he had a chance to roll and he failed. He rolled a nat 1. So instead of me forcing him to fall, the other character rolled a nat 1, and then the result was hitting his other player. But the way the angle was, he was going to fall, get pushed off the platform right there on the edge, because the beast was right there. And I was like, yeah, he's going to fall off. But don't do that. Let him get a resist roll. Let him get a chance to not fall. Of course, he rolled a nat 1, and he really fell. Did he die? No, but you're going to have to watch the show to find out. All right. But, that should have been, wow, your character's dead, Oh, and I just told you didn't. Okay, so, boy, now I'm going to get back to what I was talking about here. For the criticals, yeah. So if you get a critical, double damage, and then there's a wound. Now, what's the wound? A grievous wound. You get a grievous wound. And I made this example too. I was fighting in the list, and I did it, and the guy did it. So when you get a grievous wound, nat 20 critical, get hit. His armor actually reduced it to 0, but he still got the grievous wound. And I made a great example of that because I experienced that myself. I was in the list fighting. It was 3 of us, and we're just doing one versus all. And so we're going around each other, but the ground was sandy, and I'm walking around. I guess I rolled a nat 1 because I thought someone hit me in the ankle. I was like, "What the heck?" And I kept fighting, and then it was a little bit later on that I realized I sprained my ankle in. I'm wearing 90 pounds of steel, and it was very sandy. And my boot went like that right in some little, and it popped my ankle. And I thought someone hit me, and I'm looking around, what the hell? But they're all in front of me, and I just kept fighting for a while, and then realized, oh, I got something's going on with my ankle, and so that was my grievous wound. I didn't take any hit points for that, but I must have did a nat one snap. So I snapped my ankle, and so like that's a minus D6 wound that I have to have now, and I can't do anything about it. So obviously I got off the list and went and dealt with that, and iced it. But so if you get a grievous wound, not only will you take hit point damage, which I call vitality in this game, you will have a grievous wound, say minus D6. So if you have that for the rest of that combat, or until you can go heal up. And it's not, and you can heal up your hit points, your vitality quickly, long rest, short rest, kind of stuff. But you cannot, that grievous wound is staying with you. Your ankle, snapping your ankle or getting a gash from a battle axe is not going away. And you're going to be at minus D8, minus D6, minus D10, whatever, every turn for everything you try to roll. And that has to be dealt with. So that's part of this game. And there is, the nun can do a miracle of healing. The cleric cannot initially, the cleric guy, but he could get that miracle of healing from the nun, in his faith and at some point. But the nun can do that and heal up grievous wounds, but only after the combat, not during the combat. And I did do it once in the combat, and because I was thinking about it both ways in the game. You'll see in one of the shows, but I'm going to keep it for out of it because I want that fear of degrading pain and suffering in the battle in a combat situation. So there's that to make it a little more scary. And now this is the combat rules. These 2 pages right here. That's it. And one thing I'm worried about. I'm trying to move this over some more. Is that it? Is that what's going to go? So really, they're not going to let me go that's weird. They're not going to let me go that far. Let me make my little thing smaller then. Okay, so combat and actions. One thing I want you to be aware of is keep it loosey-goosey. Let it flow. That feels right, and favor the players. Always favor the players. Okay, if you're unsure of something, favor the players. Let them. Okay, fine. And if one of them gets excited and says they want to do something, or go ahead, just let them jump. let them go for it. Don't even. It's not your turn yet. If I literally translate their excitement into the actual combat and let them just do it. Whatever it is. Because you're gonna always have them go up against things. So, and if it's some important villain, you don't let them always just jump at it and get the advantage. But when you throw a bunch of minions at them, and in this game, by the way, you're gonna be able to have minions all the time because they're not gonna every level get up 20, 30, 60 hit points, and then they're every level get up +7, +8, +10, to their attack rolls, and just a goblin can never hurt them. In this, you can get hurt. You can get hurt from little guys. Okay. So there's no initiative. So let's start with surprise here. Surprise, prepared. If you, as I narratively prepare an ambush for these guys, then they'll get a free, first attack. If their awareness is not, and then, if they don't roll their awareness or aren't looking around and being cautious. So you got that. Ranges is loosey-goosey. Keep it loosey-goosey. Whatever, because I use the miniatures, I literally just look, does it look close? Yeah, okay, you're good. You know what I mean? Just keep it loose. When she's going to shoot, her crossbow over there across the chasm, it's short. Oh no, he moved a little bit further. Yeah, I feel like that's a minus D4 now. It's a little bit long. Do it like that. Just keep it easy. So rounds and turns. So I just go, every turn, you get one movement and one action per turn. That's it. And the action just refers to everything. Maybe you're swinging 3 times. So when you get glory points and go up, and you say improve your to hit or your to damage, you can improve those with plus D4, plus D6, plus D8. Or if a dagger is plus D4 and you want to make that better, you can make it a plus D6. You can improve that, go up. The patron lady, she has a crossbow at the beginning, and it's kind of weak. So I've noticed that they do get their crossbow going. They increase the damage on that. What was I talking about? Yeah. So in the action, so when I say you do so for sword fighting, you do plus D6 and then you raise it to plus D8. That to me represents maybe you're doing a couple swings in there. It's not just. So that's what that represents. That one action is a bunch of a whole series of things you're doing there that improve your to hit or your to damage. Instead of having 2 or 3 rolls and results and counter, just one roll. Everybody gets one roll to do something, and let's move on. Get it going. Order of combat. So I give you basically a guide, suggestions for order of combat. But you just look at the character, look at all the characters who you think would go fast, react quicker. It's usually the ones with the daggers, the ones that are smaller. I usually let the patron lady go first because she'll have her crossbow if it's ready. She'll let, and even if she's not ready, I'll let her just go first. But eventually, when they're more experienced, they should be telling you that they have their crossbow ready. But that comes with you and them maturing together as players and a GM. So again, loosey goosey, let them. If she's excited and wants to shoot her crossbow, let her. Just, okay, roll. There's no need to think about it. Let her do it. And the crazy minions come charging, and she shoots it. Gets one. And a crossbow and dagger, by the way, under styles, and this one I really like, have lethal. And lethal 4 for the dagger, and the crossbow lethal 4. So what does that mean? Whenever they roll damage of D4 and they roll a 4, they get a grievous wound of minus D4. Because that's something where I feel like we're missing with bows and daggers in combat. Those are deadly, and we're sort of D&D does not translate that at all. Even with an nat 20 with the dagger, you're just not gonna, But in real life, man. You get, oh man, and most people are going to have about 5 to 8 stamina anyway. So a dagger here, can do 8 damage, 2d4, a critical one. And, but if they do a 1d4 and they do a 4, if they roll a 4 for the damage, then you're at minus d4. So you've got this puncture wound and you're at minus d4 to all your rolls. And if you go past minus D12 for grievous wounds, you die. No, not even a lifesaver, nothing. You just die. So don't do that. But anyway, that's my way of making daggers and crossbow bolts, little arrows, are very lethal. Lethal in the sense that if they roll a 4, you get a minus D4 wound. So that does. I've had it. I had one the patron lady shooting a demonic thing. She could not hurt it. The unholy armor, the holy armor, and they were having a hard time. But she kept wounding it. She kept adding another wound, with the lethal. And that was helping because the creature was getting, all these bolts in it, was having a harder time, minus D4, minus D6, minus D8. And so she was, the thing could not feel pain, but the bolts were wearing, making it harder for it to physically do what it was doing. So that was cool. That was really cool that happened that way. So order of combat is just what feels right. And obviously the person with the battle axe and the full plate, I'm going to make them go last, generally speaking. And if they want to convince me otherwise, hey, that makes sense. Okay, go, let them do their thing. Cause I, in the list, guys with battle axes are fast. They're pretty fast. They're two-handed and they can swing that fast. So there is that. And anyone that gets handier and handier with their battle axe and they want to go right now, okay, your turn, swing. You scare them with that battle axe. So, and before they can react, you swing at them. So that's how I do initiative. We could roll for it because I do like that. That's fun, but it kind of stops and it becomes a mechanical thing, and everyone's lining up, and that's not how I feel in a combat. When I'm in a combat situation and guys are coming up, man, it's just you don't know who's gonna go first. It's just kind of crazy. And so I want to let this narrative play out, and whoever's excited for us, whoever gets an idea right then and there, I'm going to let them do it. So that's my suggestion to you, and I really enjoy doing it that way. And again, favor the players. Let them have fun. And if you feel like they're going to attack some villain of yours that's really important to you, and you feel like their villain is ready and they're ready and they start come together, you know what? We're going to roll to see who gets that. You know what? So give them a roll. Give them a chance if you disagree with them. If you disagree with a player, don't tell them no. Give them a roll that they can overcome that. That's really the best solution on anything that you're not sure if you should do that. They're getting away with too much. Have them roll. But and just be open about your thoughts too with players. Don't try to hide your concerns. I think that you guys should roll because he's my villain, and I think that we should have a little roll off in this quick bit. Is that okay? I just feel like so do it like that. Don't simmer or stew on anything, and just be open about the rules and how someone else help me out with the rules here. What is this? I don't even know what this is. Oh yeah. I don't even know what I wrote. Okay, so situational bonus is just like, give a plus D4, minus D4 based on height or upper ground or, on top of a table shooting down or, whatever you want. Just kind of allow a little plus minus D4 for the mud you're all walking in is making you all, plus D4, little things like that you can do. Move is just, one move to it. If you're in close range, you only need one move. If you're, in medium, 2 moves, kind of look at the little miniatures or theater of mind, whatever you think, it takes you 2 turns to get to someone or whatever. So it's just kind of easy. And you can, if they flank, give them a plus D4 if you feel like, and do it rarely if you feel like your character, or say your character is being surrounded by some minions and this minion attacks him and then this one attacks, and you can give the second one a plus D4 because they went from behind. So there's that. A charge. I've never had the characters charge. I do have the creatures charge a lot. You can fumble on a 1 or a 2. There's that kind of a risk if you charge. Gives them a plus D4 to their attack and a crit on 19 plus. Polearm and spears disregard 2 roll fumble because I feel like they're kind of made for a charge. And so there's that little rule in there, which I haven't even used yet. So that's kind of like an extra like talent thing for the characters to find and say they want to start using this, so you don't have to like use all these things that are in here, all the time. And here's another thing about creatures in my, in this game, beasts and stuff with abilities, giving them abilities. This is my thing for you and me and everyone. And you will see this in the listings of the creatures as well. Make up the talents. However, like I have a veritable different versions of charge on the different creatures. So, and you can use whatever you want. You can use this version or that version or whatever you can remember, use that. So every talent or ability that you give a creature or a sorcerer or a character, make it up right on the, if you want. My kind of suggestion is you make it up when you're prepping the game, though this person can do an axe pull even just on a 12 or up, instead of like successfully hitting. But if they if they roll like 12 is the regular roll to hit, but if the defense is 15, so they don't hit. But you know what? This guy's so good at it, he does it on a 12 or up, when you result. So you can do little makeup things all the time for all the different creatures or people that you want, and only do a couple because that's all you need in the game. That's enough flavor per encounter or creature or witch or gladiator that they encounter that you can just have a few. I do have a rule that I do not make it up during play, right? If I don't have it, if I haven't prepped that little special ability or thing attack beforehand, I don't put it in there just because I thought of it right then because of the situation. I don't, that just means because, and here's why I say that. When I'm fighting, I generally don't have like some special attack I do out of the blue. That's something I train, and then I can use some special thing. But I don't like come out with cool, neat attacks right in a split second fighting. You train and then you think about different things you could do, and then you try to implement those in the fighting. But I don't really feel like we come up with something in the middle of fighting. It's just, whatever. So, and here's an example. They were fighting a creature, a demonic creature, which, and by the way, when I say demonic creatures, I keep it grounded. It's earthly, not D&D fantasy, high fantasy. So this demonic creature was on 4 legs. It was encased in a bone, a deer. A deer was given steroids basically by a witch. It was wrapped and tied in bones, and it was crazy. And she kept feeding it steroids. So it became, and she did rituals to give it, maybe evil spirit. That's kind of the demonic I refer to. So this deer was wrapped in these bones, the bigger bones, and crazy. And they were fighting it, and then one of them was in the back. And then it came up that, the hooves are going to attack. And I was like, oh my God, that's such a great idea. I'm going to have the hooves, But when I looked down at my sheet, I didn't include that. I didn't have that in there. So I was like, I'm not going to just do that. And because the guy, they were desperate, and they were, new players, and he was trying to like slow it down and grab it and stuff. And I could have added the hoof attack, but I just didn't want it because I didn't write it down. So that's just my rule. You can change it if you want, or you can say, deer always do that, so I'm going to let him do it. But I felt like, if I didn't put it in there, because I do have rear attack, things in there that I put for the crocodiles and for hooved animals, which it should, but I didn't do it for this one. So I was like, it doesn't have it. It just doesn't do it. Can't do it in that the bone structure. It's wrapped and tied up in. It just won't do it. It's too crazed or whatever. So again, have fun with the creatures. Don't worry about it being specific. Don't worry about having to look up the creature's actual abilities. Just think about that creature and think about, it can do this, and keep it simple. Keep it 1 or 2 things. Damage, it's got a poison. It's got a little extra free action tail attack only if someone comes up behind it, that kind of thing. All right. Oh, wow. I didn't even know I could do that. Action. So this just breaks down what are the actions you can do in a turn. Faith. So you can do a faith. Only now that a blessing of faith, like heal. The nun can do repulse or repel, and so it kind of keeps someone from attacking her. And that would be an action in here. No, that's a free action. Actually, I take that back. The only time you would, one of the blessings that the clerics do or the witches do magic, the only time it would be an action is if it harms somebody. If you're trying to harm, and they need a resist roll, then that's an action. But other than that, clerics and nuns can, and even witches can do heal or bless or protections freely, like on any turn. Once per turn. I only allow them once per turn to do something like that, heal, bless, whatever. But they can do it whenever. They can do it to help someone on their turn, or they can do it on their turn and then still fight or whatever. Okay, so I've loosey goosey on that. But if they're trying to affect someone, that is an action. Also, if they do rebuke, I rebuke all of you, and try to reduce, and rebuke will reduce the vitality of minions, especially, because it makes them feel guilty and brings them down. That's an action. Attack is attack. Shoot. Okay, skill. Yeah, they can perform skill. Shield and cover only. So if they want to really just cover, especially the nun with our pan, they get an extra cover, which I've never used for them. I forgot to do that. But whatever. Okay, aid. Yeah, and then aid is help someone else. So if you can choose, you want to do an aid. I don't know. Anyway, you all know what aid is. It's a plus D4. Do I even have it? Another program. Oh, I think I need to rewrite this. Give the apropos trait bonus, because I always just did plus D4. Oh, apropos trait. See, I didn't even know. I never used it this way. As an action, may aid another, giving the apropos trait bonus. Oh, I always just give him a D4. This can be upgraded with glory points, right? So trait bonus plus D4, trait bonus plus D6, trait bonus plus D8. So you can actually be very helpful. So I just need to remember to add the trait bonus in there that is apropos to whatever they're doing. And I think I do that, but yeah, but whatever. Okay, but that's just nice to remember. Free action. So free action is using your faith, heal, bless, protections, all that. Impede. So you can, and that's a free action. You can impede another person, when they're trying to like run past you. And I don't have a free action where you get a free swing on somebody. Even in the list when we're running around each other, I feel like whenever you swing, it's an action. I don't feel like it's a free action at all. But anyway, all the other free actions. Hindsight rolls. So this is relatively new for me. Since I allow players to just go, roll after the fact, like a bless. If someone swings and misses, and then the cleric says, "Can I bless them?" and give them use a bless to help them hit? I'm like, sure. And that's, a hindsight roll too. So they're rolling the bless after the fact, and they only need like 1 or 2 to hit them. I don't go for it. It's fine. Loosey goosey like that. I'm fine with that. And same with the glory, like a paladin will have glory so they can do extra damage and holy damage. But they don't have to worry. They don't spend it before. They can spend it once they hit someone and see that they do damage. They can then say, can I add my glory to that? I'm like, sure, go ahead. Hindsight, but go ahead. That's fine. It just makes the game better, like easier, funner. Because you and I don't know when they're going to, something's going to happen. And but the characters on the ground, let them do their thing. But then I do have a caveat with that is that if you do it after the fact, then you don't get the little cool, and this is a new thing, narrative dice with it. I should make the negative though. You could get the negative, but not the positive. I don't know. I'll have to discuss with the players. But so I've decided now that the bonus die, whenever you get bonus die, upgrade die, you get your D20, but you also can get a D4, if you upgrade your skills or whatever, D6, D8. When you get that as well as an addition to the D20 plus your trait. But if those bonus die ever roll a 1, then I get to add a negative story, a narrative element to that roll. And then if you roll a 6 or above, you get an extra positive thing. Okay. So the higher you have on the bonuses, the better you can, chances of getting extra info or extra damage or extra bonus for the next turn. But those don't count if you do hindsight rolls. And I think I should just keep it simple. The negatives and the positives don't count. Nat 1 foibles. Oh, I used this last night quite a bit, which is when the guy fell off the platform. That was pretty funny. So this one's pretty good. I used it last night. It was really helpful. It's optional. And when you roll a nat 1, you could just come up with some sort of failure to fall, self-hurt, early on when I used to practice my sword propel practice, I would hit my shin. That's why I do not recommend, if you do not know how to hold a sword or swing a sword or an axe, do not do it without slowly training, nice and easy with a light stick. Because when you use a real sword or real steel or a heavy axe, you could come down and hit your foot, hit your shin easily. So I don't let people just have the sword and do that. And so when you roll a nat 1, that's what a nat 1 is. You end up hitting yourself. You end up throwing the weapon or losing the grip on the weapon, falling, whatever, something silly or funny, bad happens. This is a suggestion, this list here, for new GMs, and then, or you can just come up with your own. If you roll a 6+ on your bonus die, you can negate a fumble. Okay, that's kind of cool. If you have a bonus die. Nat 20 critical rolls, obviously double damage, and then does the grievous wound, and then you can sacrifice a shield or helm to avoid the grievous wound. You may not want to do that for the dagger, but definitely for a battle axe. So, thusly, the battle axe shatters your shield. Epic roll. What the heck is it? Oh, if you roll a nat 20 and a 6 or more on your bonus die, that is an epic roll. So you can go crazy with that, or do this sever a limb type of thing here. Limb chart optional. Just, if you want to do some limbs. If you roll ahead and there's no helm, there's 2 grievous wounds, or, double or added. So if you do a dagger, nat 20 and a 6 or above on the bonus die, ooh, and then you roll a 1 on the chart, that's minus D4, minus D6. So, minus D6 wound. Yeah, so you got a wound there. At least a minus D6 plus the 2D4. So there's that. Denouement. This I use a ton. And this is it. This is the combat rules. That's it. And it works. I love it. Plus the all this little extra optional stuff up here. Denouement. I should probably go over though the life saves, but it's similar to D&D death saves. So denouement is, and this is what really to me gets the combat flowing nice and smoothly. Whenever the minion, especially for minions, a villain, the top tier may probably fight to the death. I mean, but you can still roll here if you want. If someone takes an nat 20, that's denouement may come into play. If 1/3 of the allies fall, denouement may come into play. An individual is down to half their vigor, which is vitality, hit points. The vigor is for bad guys or whatever. If they're down to half their vigor, denouement. Flanked by a stronger force, denouement. Successfully attacked and preached at in same turn. So if your cleric is preaching successfully and you are attacking successfully, hey, I might roll a denouement on that. Upgrade die ranks if they are zealots, cult leader nearby, at an altar layer, or demonic influence. So a basic minion, if you start hurting them, or do a nat 20 on one of them, or one of them drops, I would roll a D4 for their morale. And the die result is right here. And first one, they flee, in panic. 2, they surrender immediately, and drop everything, begging for mercy. 3, motions to surrender, but still defensive. Okay. If given the opportunity, will drop weapons and put hands up. 4, moves away from major threats, looks for a cheap attack on weaker if possible, must maneuver. So that's a minion. And once something starts going bad, they're going to start immediately taking off. If, however, next to them is a sorcerer or a pagan leader or whatever, you're going to roll a D6. So they'll have 5 steps back if possible. 6 keeps fighting. But they'll have to re-roll. If you roll 5, they'll have to re-roll. Whatever. I kind of ignore that and just wait until the next turn to see what happens. So you increase the die roll based on what you think is how fervent, zealot the cult people are, the warriors or whatever. And I roll this a lot in the combats, and it really helps to just, they start fleeing. So, and that leaves an opportunity for the missionaries to then, now that, try to preach to them and talk to them instead of killing them. So that's really cool. This is a really good one that I really use a lot. And I definitely got to make a GM screen for this. Anyway, so that's it. And then this is just kind of mechanics of the dice, and then the dying. This discusses the vitality and saves and death saves, and here you can show it if you want to pause and look at it. And then conditions. Okay, that's the rules. I think it stops there. Yeah, I'll do the next one on more on the faith and blessings. Okay, so that's my long diatribe about the combat, which is again only these 2 pages right here, and it works. I really like it. Again, loosey goosey though. Let it flow however it feels. Make sure everyone's having a good time. And don't fixate on you got to win or be smarter than them. Act dumb. I always play dumb because I am dumb, and I always play my villains dumb and the minions dumb, and we all have a good time. Okay, so do it that way. Don't come in this with you're gonna trick them. You're gonna scare them a lot. You're gonna have the upper hand. Just let it play dumb and pretend you're dumb, and because we are dumb, and just have a good time. Even with the villains, the top villains. I have so many, in D&D, I prepared so many high class villains, all the spells, and they only end up using 2 or 3, and they beat them easily. And you know what? When they beat them easily, that means they figured it out. They they did it. They planned ahead, whereas you're planning their whole, like one time, in D&D, the one of the guys got my spellcaster, silence or whatever. And it was some spell that I didn't know anything about. It was like or Unearth I Can or some new spell. And he just did it and it causes the person not to be able to talk or whatever. So I couldn't do it. I didn't. And the resist roll was like a weaker version, than the charisma versus the whatever. But I was like, I can't get upset. I can't think of new tricks to defeat that. He beat me fair and square. Blah, blah, blah. So, and, they went down, the villains. And that was like 4 hours of waste of me prepping that ridiculousness. Okay. But it's still fun. But it's fun. It was fun. And they all were like, yeah, because, he did that. And so again, in this same thing, the sorcerers, which is easy. Like I said, make up stuff. You can make it up. They're that pagans in medieval history, man, everything's loosey goosey anyway. All the magic and all the, who does what and what they do. It's all loosey goosey. There's no character classes. They just come up with different things, and they'll have their strengths and weaknesses and what they figure out on their own in their own little pockets, of history and of culture. All right. I'm going on and on because I enjoy this. Anyway, thanks for listening. Until next time.